that came into Nigeria. Before they came, every indigenous community were living peacefully. Nobody knew who was a minority or who was a majority, especially in the east, in Biafra land where we come from. The Igbo people never attempted to conquer the Ibibio people because they recognized that they are one, the same blood, the same family. Instead, in Bende, where I come from, we had to go and borrow, no, I wouldn't say borrow, we brought in an culture, who is Okonko and Ebe. And I think in Arochukwu we even have Ekan in Arochukwu as well. These are the things that I want people to pay very close attention to appreciate the enormity of the disaster confronting each and every one of us. The enormity of the disaster confronting each and every one of us. Because we are live and direct and the whole world is listening. The world is listening. We are live and we are direct. Do you know that these people came? Fulanese took over the north. Britain took over the south. Lugard continued to march to the north. When Lugard met them in the north, this is something that people do not know. Lugard decided to introduce indirect rule. Do you know how and why Lugard introduced indirect rule? Because the reason why some of you, I was fascinated. I've been doing this research for years. I finished it today. I kept asking myself, why was it possible that Britain came with the Bible, told us about the love of Jesus Christ, but preferred to work with Muslims, killing Christians? I never understood it until it struck me. It was Lugard, the people that taught Lugard how to, should I say, conduct indirect rule are the Fulani people. Because the reason why Britain respects Fulani people, I wouldn't say respect, I would say admire them, is this. The Fulani people were fewer in number, but they were controlling the whole of the north. That included the Hausa people, the Gwari people, the Bachama people, the Birom people, the TV, everybody's there. So Lugard kept wondering, how is it possible that a handful of people with cattle, not that they were educated, no, a handful of people with cattle, how was it possible that these people could dominate and subjugate all these large swathes of land? Then the answer came in the form of indirect rule. It was Fulani people that started indirect rule. When the Fulanis come, all they need to do is to install their emir or their, basically their emir or Sariki. No, Sariki I think is Hausa. Install their emir. Despite the fact that in a village or in a city in the north, in Hausa lands in those days, you will only find one Fulani emir and his council of about maybe 10 or a dozen Fulani people with their wives and their children. You will see them controlling millions of Hausa people. And there was no problem. Britain now said, okay, it is now possible for me to be, as Wadisi, the district commissioner at the top, I now go and appoint warrant chiefs to be reporting to me. That was why it became possible to rule Black Africa, especially West Africa, with very few white men. Indirect rule, they called it. The first people to bring in indirect rule was Fulani Janjaweed. Because you have one Fulani man as the emir controlling millions.
My people, listen very well, because what Nnamdi Kanu said has left many people speechless. The man didn't hold back at all. In fact, the truth he dropped about the British government and the Nigerian government is shaking everywhere right now. If you've been following Kanu's case, you'll know that he has always spoken boldly, but this one carried real fire. Now before we go deep into it, please do me one favor. Like this video right now, and if you're new here, subscribe to this channel so you don't miss the next update. You know this platform always gives you the real gist, without sugarcoating anything. So here's what happened. Nnamdi Kanu, still in detention and facing his ongoing trial, made a heavy statement about how both the British and Nigerian governments have treated him. He said something that caught everyone's attention. They don't know what justice means. My people, imagine that kind of line coming straight from the man himself. He said the British government, yes, the same Britain that once colonized Nigeria and still calls itself a guardian of democracy, has completely abandoned him. Remember, Kanu is also a British citizen. According to him, the UK government has refused to stand up for him, despite repeated pleas from his lawyers and family. They've been silent, and that silence is now beginning to speak louder than words. And on the other side, Kanu didn't spare the Nigerian government either. He accused the authorities of twisting the law, turning what's supposed to be justice into politics. He said the system has become one where the strong decide the truth, instead of the truth deciding who is strong. Powerful words, right? Now, pause a bit and think about this. What Kanu is saying goes beyond him alone. He's pointing to something bigger, something that affects every Nigerian. Because if a citizen can't trust the justice system, then what hope do ordinary people have? That's the question everyone is now asking. Guys, drop your thoughts in the comment section. Do you think Kanu is right about what he said? Do you believe both governments have failed him? I want to hear from you. And please, don't forget to like this video if you're still watching, because more people need to see what's really happening. Now let's go deeper. According to his legal team, Kanu feels betrayed by Britain, a country that prides itself on human rights and fair treatment. They said they've written several times to the British authorities, but the response has been weak. Imagine, their own citizen, forcing trial under very tense conditions, yet no strong diplomatic action. Kanu believes the silence is a form of agreement, that the UK is quietly standing by while injustice continues. Meanwhile, he accused the Nigerian system of ignoring the basics of justice, things like fair hearing, due process, and respect for law. He said if his case can be handled this way, it means the law in Nigeria can be bent anytime power wants it to bend. And that, my people, is a very serious statement. Now, let's be real. This isn't the first time we're hearing something like this. But what makes this one different is the emotion behind it. You could tell Kanu spoke from pain and disappointment. You could feel that sense of frustration, not just against the system, but against the silence of those who could help but chose to look away. And as this statement spreads, international eyes are watching. Human rights organizations are already discussing it quietly. The question now is, will this trigger diplomatic talks between Nigeria and Britain? Or will everyone just keep quiet until the next big headline? Before I continue, please, if you're enjoying this gist, hit the subscribe button right now and also turn on your notification bell, because every single day I'll keep you updated on this case and every major move around it. Now, let's look at the deeper side of what Kanu said. He's not only talking about his case, he's talking about the idea of justice itself. When he said, they don't know what justice means, he was referring to a system that has lost its moral balance. A system where politics is stronger than fairness, and where truth is decided by power instead of facts. And honestly, this is why many Nigerians feel disconnected from leadership. Because justice in this country sometimes feels like a privilege, not a right. Kanu's words are echoing with those who've faced similar frustration. People who've been denied fairness simply because they're not powerful or connected. Now, for those who don't know, his legal journey has been long and stressful. Multiple adjournments, endless motions, security interference, and strong accusations back and forth. And through all of it, Britain, his second home, has not publicly demanded his release. It's almost like they're avoiding the issue. But here's the thing. When someone speaks truth to power like this, it forces a new conversation. What Kanu said has now put both the Nigerian and British governments in a position where they must respond. Because staying silent will only make it look like they agree with what he said. Now let me ask you this. Do you think Britain will finally act now? Or will they continue watching? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because I want to know what you think about this. And remember, this case is not just about one man. It's about what happens when the system ignores its own principles. That's why Kanu's words are echoing everywhere. People are asking for justice, for transparency, for fairness. Please, if you've not liked this video yet, hit that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe so we can continue to break down every new update together. Because honestly, this story is far from over. What's coming next may shock everyone. And when that happens, I'll be right here to tell you every detail.